Hey there guys, I hope you're okay. Today I am bringing you my May wrap up. So it has been a hot minute since I last did a wrap up. I last did mine in January, and since then I said I was starting making weekly vlogs, so there was no point me doing a wrap up at the end of the month when I was going to be discussing my books in detail in the weekly vlogs. So I decided to scrap the wrap ups and do the weekly vlogs because I was really enjoying doing them. Then life changed. Most specifically, I got a new job and I just couldn't commit to doing the weekly vlogs anymore because I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was going to work. By the time I get home, because it takes me a long time to get home because I don't drive, it's public transport. By the time I got home, I had about an hour, maybe 2 hours before it was time for bed. So I actually didn't really end up doing much, and the vlogs became less and less fun to film, and I'm assuming maybe less and less fun to watch because it was just less enjoyable to make. So I assume people would like them less. So I decided to scrap my weekly vlogs for the foreseeable. Maybe in future when I start doing more things, if I start doing more things, it'll be fine. But when I'm working all the time and then I come home and I don't really have time, it just seems a bit pointless. I'm keeping all of my other vlogs, such as my spoiler-filled reading vlogs and things like that. I'll be keeping all those. It's just the weekly ones get a bit boring and repetitive, so I decided to scrap them for now. Hence, I'm bringing back my wrap-ups. I was originally debating whether to do a wrap-up between January and now, so from the start of February to the end of May, but after looking at it, I realised that I scrapped the wrap-ups as I started the vlogs. So you all got if you watch the vlogs, you all got my thoughts and feelings throughout. And I checked, my last vlog was actually at the very end of April and the very start of May. So if you'd have watched all of them, you'd have got everything and all of my thoughts for all of the books. So it seemed a bit pointless doing a wrap-up for all of them. So I've decided to just do a May wrap-up. Hope that makes sense. We're going to do it. So jumping straight in, the first book I read in May was The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. I decided to read this one because I knew the film was coming out. So I thought I'd just jump into it. And oh my god, I loved it. I thought it was so fun. It wasn't so perfectly masterfully written, but it was just so dark. There were so many plot twists I didn't expect. There were plot points that I expected that just got even further, and they went that one step further to make it really good. I also really like how it explored the mental health surrounding it, because if you don't know, the story is about a woman called Anna Fox who is an agoraphobic and can't leave her house. Over time, she just sits and watches people out of her window, and one day she sees her neighbours and something happens that forces her to seek help. And when she seeks help, she realizes nobody will believe her because they think she's just the crazy lady. And that was just really interesting to develop. You got to see her relationship with her husband and daughter as well, and how her mental illness has affected her relationship with them. You got to see how mental health is portrayed by people that don't understand it, and how often people with mental health problems are just passed off as the crazy person who doesn't need to be believed because they never have anything valid to say. It was just so dark and creepy, and it was just, I loved how it worked. And then after that, I watched the new movie. Nowhere near as good. Still good, but nowhere near as good. But I had a great time with that book. I had a really good time, and I gave that one 5 stars. Then next in May, I read Heartstopper Volume 4. I got this delivered to me, and on the same day, I convinced Brooke to go and pick up her copy. She went and got it, brought it home, and then we video called each other and read the book together. Heartstopper Volume 4 is the best book in that graphic novel series to date. It was so amazing. It talks about loads of different topics relating to mental health, the LGBT community, how people are viewed, how relationships grow, being a teenager and growing up, family relationships. So much got handled, and it was just beautiful. It was a fantastic story. I gave it 5 stars. It was a perfect continuation. I love all of the Heartstopper series. If you don't know, it follows 2 boys, one called Nick and one called Charlie, as they begin a relationship. They are both gay and coming to terms with it. I actually think Nick is bisexual, and Charlie is gay, and it's about them coming to terms with their relationship and what being together would mean, as well as dealing with a lot of personal problems along the way. It is a beautiful story. It has such great side characters. It has a great plot line. It's just perfection from start to finish, and I love it. Alice Oseman is a master, but I gave that 5 stars in case you didn't know. Now, the next book I read is one I was deeply anticipating, and I was a little bit let down by it, and that is Truly Devious. Everyone expects me to love Truly Devious, and to be fair, I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 star, but I had a lot of issues with it, and I actually wrote a Goodreads review, and I think the first thing I said was my review is going to be very contradictory to my rating, because my rating wasn't, I don't know, it's very difficult to describe. I gave Truly Devious a 4 star rating, but the way I talked about it, you would think I hated it. But I didn't. I really enjoyed it. I was just really disappointed. So, Truly Devious is about an old kidnapping that happened many, many years ago. And then our main character, Stevie Bell, goes to the new school and suddenly decides she wants to investigate this murder. And it was very intriguing and plot twisty, and it was a lot of fun, but not until halfway through. Like, for me, the main bulk of this mystery didn't start until I'd hit halfway, because I remember messaging my friend at halfway like, what the hell, I'm not happy with it. And then at halfway something happened and I was like, oh, we're getting into it now. And people say, yeah, but it's building the relationships between characters, and I'm like, but I was expecting a really dark, deep mystery, and I was just really disappointed with the first half. If the rest of the books are like the second half of Truly Devious, I'm going to love them. The second half of Truly Devious was fantastic and dragged that rating up to a 4, because before that it was probably like a 2.5, 2 star. Like, I just wasn't vibing with it at all. And then eventually it just kind of kicked into gear, got a mystery going, and I was just obsessed from then on out. And I can't wait to continue and actually find out more, because obviously it ended on a cliffhanger. So I did give that a 4 star. I did have a good time with it, despite my issues. And I hope that there are less and less issues as the stories go on. Next, I continued my spoiler-filled vlogs of the Folk of the Air trilogy with book 2, which is The Wicked King by Holly Black. This one was so much better than the first one. I know a lot of people have a differing opinion on that, but for me, I'm not someone who likes character-driven books, which is what the first book was. The second one had much more of a plot to it, so it just worked a lot better for me. And this story follows a girl called Jude, who is a human, that when she was young, she was kidnapped and taken to the land of Fairy, where she had to live out her days. You could probably guess how that went. And then suddenly she's thrown into the world of the Prince, Carden, who is an absolute douche. And the story progresses. I can't really talk about the second book because it's a big like follow-on from the first book, so a lot of plot twists. But I had such a good time with the second book. It was dark and creepy. I got to see different sides of characters that I loved and didn't love, and I got to like more, I got to hate some even more. And it was just really good. I gave it a 4 star because I gave the first one, I think, a 3.5. So a 4 star really suited the next one along, because The Wicked King was actually really good. We got to see a bit of more of the undersea, like going underwater and stuff, and that was really interesting, and I really loved to see that. I just wish that lasted a bit longer. And now I'm thinking about it, The Wicked King ended on a plot twist, and I really want to find out what happens next. So I'm going to be picking up The Queen of Nothing very, very shortly. Following on from that, I moved on to You're the One That I Want by Simon James Green. This book actually came out on the 3rd of June, but I was very, very lucky and received an art copy of this. Scholastic UK, who are the publishers, sent me a copy for it, and let me tell you right now, when I received that copy, I screamed. I dropped my entire TBR just to read You're the One That I Want, and literally no regrets. It was amazing. It was a 5-star book. The book is now out. I actually now have my second copy, which is signed by Simon James Green. You're the One That I Want follows a young boy called Freddie, who is very socially awkward, and he decides that he wants to reinvent himself. He decides that he wants to become a little bit more popular, And really, all he wants is to be remembered for something because nobody knows who he is. So he and his friends make a challenge that he has to say yes to every opportunity. This leads on to him auditioning for the school production of Grease, as well as meeting new boy Zach and seeing if he can take a chance there. It is so cute, it is so romantic, it's so funny. It's also got a really deep and heartfelt message in there somewhere. And it's just one of them books that you can read time and time again, and no matter what, it will always be cute and light and fluffy, but it will always pack a punch. You need to give it a go if you have not already. I know a lot of people who watch my videos who are Simon James Green's fans, so I would absolutely recommend you check it out because I can tell you it is fantastic. If you've not checked out Simon James Green yet, Pride Month. Why wouldn't you do it now? Now is the perfect opportunity. Then after that, I continued on my buddy read with my friend Jade from paperback to hardback. Really? Now? We have been reading the Women's Murder Club series, and we read 15th Affair and then the mini bookshot, which is in between 15 and 16, called The Trial. So, book 15 and technically 15.5, but I class it as 16, follow Lindsay Boxer and the Women's Murder Club as they go to solve crimes. Can't really tell you more about either of them because, spoilers, it's the 15th and 16th book in a series, you know. But it follows a police detective, a coroner, a lawyer, and a journalist who all come together to help each other solve the crimes. And it's all about female empowerment and female friendships and their bonds and just the lives of these professional women in really well-paid jobs and high-up jobs and how they rock it. They're fantastic. There's some great characters. Criticisms is the stories begin to get a bit repetitive. Me and Jade found this a while ago. We took a month off. We've come back. They are still repetitive, but I felt like I was really excited to get back to the world, so I didn't mind as much. But I had a good time with them. I gave 15th Affair a 5-star because I actually had a good time with it, and I gave The Trial a 3.5 star because that one was okay, but I didn't really like the storyline. Plus, it was a bit shorter, so we didn't really get much depth into it either, so, you know, it was fine. Then, Mel and I did a buddy read, which is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I read a couple of Agatha Christie books last year, and I had a lot of fun with them. I'm a big fan of Agatha Christie. I like her writing style, despite the fact it's older than what I typically go for. I don't really like the writing style of older books, so the fact that I enjoyed this was really good. But the storyline I knew very well. I've seen the movies, I knew how it was going to end. It was no surprise where it was going for me because I knew everything. But I had a really good time with it, and I just really enjoyed how it was written. I actually listened to the audiobook, which was narrated by Kenneth Branagh, who played Poirot in the latest film. It was really, really good. I had a good time with it. I gave it a 4-star, I think, because it was actually really enjoyable, and I enjoyed listening to it on audiobook, especially hearing the man that played Poirot play Poirot. It was really interesting. So I had a good time with it. Now, finally, I read an entire series. My friend Brooke and I decided to binge an entire series because she's read them and she wanted a reread. I'd never read them, I'd never watched the films, and I'd never had anything spoiled for me, so I wanted to get in there before something got spoiled, because it was always going to if I didn't. So Brooke and I read the entire Maze Runner series. Book 1, which is Maze Runner, Book 2, which is The Scottish Trials, Book 3, which is The Death Cure, Book 4, which is The Kill Order, and Book 5, which is The Fever Code. Book 1 to 3 are the original trilogy, and I had a really good time with that trilogy. It was a lot of fun. Book 1 was absolutely fantastic. I love getting introduced to the world. I love seeing the characters. Let me tell you, when I say I cried, you don't understand. It was emotional. I loved it. It was great. Book 2, it was fine. I gave it a 3.5. I thought it was still a decent story. I just didn't like the characters. I feel as though the characters were more 2D than they were in the first book. I feel as though the first book really kind of developed them a little bit. Not a lot, but it developed them a little bit. And I knew who they were. Then in the second book, I feel as though I didn't really know them or care about them at all. I also feel as though the storyline was just a rehash of the first book, but in a different setting. So I didn't really love that one as much, but it was still an enjoyable read. And then the third one, absolutely fantastic. A great way to end the series. A lot of people don't like the third one. They feel as though there's not much closure with it. I really enjoyed how it ended. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed how characters had their personal closure. I enjoyed how things developed. It was a good time. Then book 4 happened. Was not a fan of book 4. I gave that a 2.5. It just felt like it served no purpose to the story. When I found out it was going to be a prequel, I was excited because I thought I was going to learn so much about the characters. But instead, it took you way back to when the dystopian part of the story kind of first happened. And you were just thrown in with completely unrelated characters, and it was just nothing to do with the series I'd come to know and love. So I was really disappointed with it. Didn't have a good time. Didn't particularly think it was well written. Yeah, I was really upset. I was really disappointed with it. So I only gave that a 2.5. Then I got to book 5, which is the Fever Code, and that was a prequel that I wanted. That was a prequel that gave me everything I needed, and I had a really good time with it, and I gave that a 5-star. If with being a bit pedantic and thinking technically, Kill Order and Fever Code I both finished very early in June, but because I'm talking about the entire series, I just kind of put them together. But that is all the books I read. That is all 13 of them. I had 6 5-star books, 4 4-star books, 2 3.5-star books, and then 1 2.5-star book. So overall, it was a fantastic month. I do actually have an average rating. What is it? I have an average rating of 4.27 stars, which is fantastic. Most people have like an average rating of about 3, I think. Mine, if it's over 4, I am ecstatic. I had a great reading month. I had a really good time with my reads, and I only hope that continues into June. We shall see. But I'm really looking forward to everything. But thank you guys so much for being here. It means a lot to me that you've tuned in to watch a wrap-up because I've not been here for a while. So here I am. It means a lot that you guys are here. Leave me a comment down below. Anything you want, whether you want to discuss any of the books. What did you think of Heartstopper? Have you read the Maze Runner series? What did you think of that? Have you watched the new adaptation of The Woman in the Window? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know everything. If you're planning on buying Simon James Green's book, do it. It's fantastic. But if you can't think of anything that you want to comment, but you want to let me know you've been, please feel free to leave me a donut down in the description. Relates to the Simon James Green book. It was a great book. I can't get over it. It was great. But yes, leave me a donut down below if you want to let me know you've been, but you have nothing you really particularly want to say. Go and enter my giveaway over on Instagram. And what else do I have to say? There is not much. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed because I have had quite a few new subscribers recently, which means a lot to me. I'm so glad new people are here. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.